Hello all. This video is going to be on building the Gnome shell, or building upon the Gnome shell in Arch Linux. And before I start, I should preface this by saying that I assume you already know how to install Arch Linux, either through virtual machines such as VirtualBox or on your system. Okay? And what I've done, obviously, is I do have Arch Linux installed. I don't have a desktop environment, so that's what we're going to do, is install the Gnome desktop environment. And obviously I've modified my bash script, and I have some aliases. So, for example, pack alias equals pacman equals sudo pacman dash capital S and then the package you want. And ppax equals pacman dash capital S small s to search for packages. Alright? Just to save some time in typing. So the first thing we can do is just install Gnome shell from the Arch Linux pacman repository. So I'm just going to type pack, which again is sudo pacman dash capital S. So pack gnome dash shell. It'll pull in quite a few packages along with it, as you can see just after I pressed enter. Okay, so I'll let this run and then I'll be back when this is ready to go. Okay, so that's downloaded and installed, and it's just a basic desktop environment that you can work with right away once you log in or start your window manager. I don't have a window manager. I'm going to use Xinit to start the Gnome shell. But first I'm going to get a couple of more packages. Just so we have something to work with. So sudo pacman dash capital S. I'm going to get leafpad for a text editor, and gnome terminal for a terminal instead of using X terminal, and a browser, Firefox. So you can choose what you want. Leafpad could be the other one. Here's the name. Leafpad could be gedit, for example. Gnome terminal could be XFCE terminal or LX terminal. Or Firefox could be Chrome, Google Chrome. No, Chromium. I'm sorry, through the pacman repository. In any case, I'm going to install these, and I'll be back when it's ready. So those are finished downloading, and the final thing is I'm going to clear the screen. And if you do an ls-la to list all dot files, you see that there's no .xinitrc in order for us to start the GNOME desktop environment. So all we have to do is copy cp etc skel .xinit. You can press tab on those to complete, and then if you're in your home directory, which I am here in this case, just type the same, just xinitrc, so .xinitrc. And you can list out again, and there's our .xinitrc, and then we just issue nano, for example, .xinit, press tab, so we get .xinitrc, then press enter, and there it is, their exec gnome session. So we just take out the hashtag, £, or whatever you want to call it. And once that's done, press Ctrl O to write out, press enter to write it to that, and press Ctrl X to quit. Clear the screen, and now we'll type start X. And give it a second. And there we are. We have a basic GNOME desktop. So obviously we don't have a desktop wallpaper. Or anything. Really, we have very few programs. These are from GNOME shell installation and from the Arch Linux, and then the programs I installed. So here's GNOME terminal. and you can edit the colors and stuff, profile preferences, give it a name, and set whatever you want. And another alias for to update my mirror list is PSYNC equals sudo pacman dash capital SYY. Okay, so I'm gonna just to check, make sure the mirrors are updated, and which they are. Good. Okay, so we don't have a file manager, and the neat thing about the later Gnome additions is Nautilus isn't really tied in as much anymore. So you could download something like PCman FM or Thunar or another manager of your choice. Before that, though, let's get Gnome Control Center. So sudo pacman dash capital S Gnome dash control dash center. Alright, and let's get the wallpapers. So I'll just arrow key up and Gnome backgrounds. Now we have the backgrounds installed in the control center. It's just a matter of pressing the Alt on your keyboard and F2. So Alt F2. When this comes up, to say enter command, press R, just the letter R, and then press enter. Just give it a second to restart the Gnome shell, and now we have a background. I think one thing a lot of us have gotten used to is like a minimize button or a maximize button. In order to get those, the easiest way is to install GNOME Tweak Tool. You can do it through command line though, but we'll just grab that as well. So sudo pacman dash capital S GNOME dash tweak dash tool, and it's a very small package. So let's go to our overview activities here. Go to all programs. Now we have GNOME Tweak Tool. So you can start throwing these into your favorites menu. Okay, we'll just launch GNOME Tweak Tool. And under Windows, you go down way down near the bottom here. Title bar buttons, and the maximize on and minimize on. So let's go back to our terminal. Now we have minimize, maximize, and restore unmaximize. Okay, so we don't have a file manager. As I said near the beginning, it's your choice what you want. So you can get one through the Pacman repository. Say, for example, PCman FM, or you can get Nautilus, which is now called Files. So that's up to you. Let's try PCman FM. If it doesn't work out, you can always install Nautilus. And this one here, GVFS, you want to get that as well. Okay, so minimize this. Let's go to our overview window. And there's our file manager and PCman FM. Now to fill in the default directories, folders in your home folder, through Pacman again, we can get a utility called xtg-user-dirs directories, and then -gtk. It'll put on 2 packages. And then from there, we just issue basically the same command. We don't have to do sudo on it. xtg-user-dirs-update. So if we go back to our file manager in overview mode, now we have all our generic folders and stuff that you would see on a typical installation. So I think you get the idea of building on the GNOME shell and just adding what you want. And so moving on, I installed the file roller that integrates nicely in GNOME. And you probably want some what they call shell extensions. Most of that happens up here in the top anyway, so you can get that through your browser. Firefox is recommended. It'll automatically have the plugin for you. But I'm going to get them through Pacman, gnome-shell-extensions. And let's do an Alt F2 to reload the shell. And you can go back, once it's finished restarting, you can go back to your tweak tool. And hopefully they'll be there. There they are. So you have like an application menu if you want. on and off, and just the various other things. Places indicator. You can go straight to your home or whatever documents or bookmarks you might want to add. And I like to use some transparency. Have transparency in the terminal here, and you can get that in through Yower, or the user repository. Just type in gnome-terminal, and you'll see a listing. And the one I want is number 5, GNOME Terminal Transparent. So at the end of the install, continue installing. It's going to ask you if you want to replace that. Type yes. Just type Y for yes, and proceed with the install. Just a little transparency is nice. And there we go. Now for what would be like your legacy applications, I don't know, that probably isn't the best term, but stuff like if you want Dropbox icon and stuff up here, you can get more extensions. If you scroll down to the bottom here, it says get more extensions. If you have Firefox installed, it will open up Firefox to the GNOME shell extensions, extensions.gnome.org. We want to get top icons, and you just turn that on, and it'll ask you to install, and it's on. Okay, so I think we've gotten most of basic working GNOME desktop without a ton of applications you may not want. So finally, let's go to our settings, and let's get some keyboard shortcuts. And we'll go down to custom shortcuts, click the add, and we want one for our terminal, of course. And the command is gnome-terminal. Press enter, or just hit add there, and under disabled, type in any key combination. The traditional one is Control-Alt-T. Alright? Now if you want to go to your home folder, just call it home. The command, I install PCMan-FM, but if you install Thunar or Nautilus, type that in. So like it would be like Thunar or Nautilus. Okay, so I'm going to type PCMan-FM, press enter, and Alt, and the home key on your keyboard. It's your choice. And finally, for a text editor, LeafPad. Again, if it's gedit or something, you put that in. You put nano in there if you want. Click add, and Control-Alt-N for notes. So let's try those out. Control-Alt-T. There's our terminal. Alt-Home. There's our PCMan-FM. Control-N. There's our LeafPad. Alright, so that'll do it for this one, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.